Is starting an insurance agency with no experience a good idea? Let's talk about it. My name is Sakha, and I too started in the insurance industry. I started an agency from scratch in late 2016. I had no experience. I didn't have my licenses. I didn't have business owner experience. I didn't have insurance experience. I never managed people, and I just sent it, right? I just launched into this industry and I figured it out along the way. Fast forward to 7 years later, it is, at the time of this recording, May 2024, we have grown a $20 million insurance agency across 2 states. Nevada, we got an office in Nevada, we've got an office in Oregon. We are also licensed to sell in Washington, Arizona, California, Nevada, and we got 20 plus staff, and it's been an incredible journey, but it wasn't always this way. It was a slow and steady grind, and I'm here to tell you that if you're considering doing the same thing, my overall advice is it depends if you should start an insurance agency with that experience, and we'll dive into that. Before I do, I just need you guys to do me one big favor, is hit the like button if you get some value, subscribe to the channel. I talk all things insurance, entrepreneurship, self-development, and follow me on my social media platforms. I've got a ton of resources in the caption below to help you become successful as a P&C insurance agent or agency owner. And so be sure to check that out. All right, let's get started. So why does it depend? Can you start and should you start an insurance agency with no experience? In my case, I didn't have the experience, but I learned a lot of other things in my journey in my banking career. I had 7 years where I learned sales and meeting goals and just the professional industry. Selling a product like banking is very similar to insurance. Like, everyone needs it. In insurance, everybody's required to have it by law. Banking, everyone's usually has bank accounts. You got to establish credit, so on and so forth. I learned customer service in banking. I learned operations. That's a big one. These things, managing people, I was never a direct manager, but I was always an assistant manager. Not always. I was an assistant manager for a little bit, and that taught me just working for a good manager. It taught me how to manage teams and how often you need to have coaching sessions, the operations piece, the customer service, like all this stuff helped when I got into this industry. I took a lot from banking, and it helped me as an insurance agent, agency owner, managing people. Like, I started with 2 employees. I just started with the very minimum. I learned a lot over the years before insurance, social media, just promoting myself and making sure that I put myself out there. I got to promote myself. That helped me. That helped serve me in this insurance industry journey. And so it depends. It might serve you more to work for an agency, to go work for your local Allstate, your local independent broker, State Farm, Farmers. It might serve you to go work for one for a couple of years and then to learn everything it takes to eventually open up your own agency. Now, some of you guys may not be in the financial position to start an agency. A lot of times it may take $20 to $50, even $100,000 to start an insurance agency. In my case, I was very lucky because at the time in 2016, it only took $25,000 to start an Allstate office. And I had a 401k that I contributed to in my 7 years of banking, and I used that 401k. I cashed it out to start my agency, and that was a blessing, because if I could do it all over again, I would join this industry no matter what it took. If it took $50,000, took $100,000, knowing what I know now, I would do it. So, should you work for an agency and get your feet wet, learn the experience, learn the industry, or should you start your own? It just depends on you, on your willingness to bet on yourself. It starts with how quickly you can learn, how quickly you can develop friendships with players in the industry and to learn from them. In my case, I did have one of my best friends that was helping me. He was already a 2-year agent, doing big things with the company, and he taught me a lot. Like, I had him to lean on in my first year, 2 years, so that just being around the right positive influences is a good indicator that it's going to help you be successful. So not trying to do it on your own. That's a big thing, is just having somebody to go to whenever you run into tough situations. What I will say is it never hurts to work for an agency, specifically one that's doing big things. Like if you can go under the wing of one of the major players in your state and to learn from them. They don't even have to be in your state. You could work remotely for one of the top insurance agencies, and that can give you the experience and the framework. You can take all the things that you love and then throw out the window all the things that you hate, and ultimately that's how you mold and find your own style. And I've done that even in my banking days. The managers that I had, I took what I loved and what they did effectively, and it completely just went away with the things that I hated that they did, and that helped me build the culture and the type of leadership style that I have today. And so if you're not sure, like if you're sitting on some money and you're ready to start an agency, you can learn, the good old-fashioned school of hard knocks and try to figure it out yourself, and just make the mistakes and fail forward. Be willing to make mistakes and lose a lot of money with, you're going to make bad hires, you're going to invest in bad marketing sources, lead sources. You're just going to have to figure it out, but it really just depends on you and your risk tolerance. I know for the most part that it never hurts to just get that experience working for somebody else, and that should be able to serve you well in the long run. Maybe you only dedicate 1 year, 2 years for working for another agency. There are several successful agency owners that have come from either route. Whether you started scratch and you had no experience, you will figure it out, right? Or maybe you needed a couple years to be groomed and to learn the industry and to learn what the A players are doing. And those people can be successful as well. There's really no secret sauce. I just think it comes down to the person. So I want to leave you with the 4 skills that served me the most in my journey. And these skills I took from all walks of life. It wasn't just banking, it was just some way, shape, or form. I learned these things from somewhere through experience, through just reading about it, or just podcasts or success CDs and things like that. These 4 things served me. The first thing is knowing how to sell. You're going to need to know how to sell because you're going to have to hit goals. If you're not meeting your agency goals, your agency will suffer. You're going to suffer when making payroll because you're basically commission only as an agency owner, and you need to sell for the first couple years yourself. You're going to have to sell policies, get policies on the books. You're going to have to sell people on working with you and taking that leap of faith to go work for an unproven agency owner. So you're going to have to learn how to sell. For me, those sales skills came from my banking days, selling checking accounts, selling loans, selling credit cards. And so sales, you're going to have to know how to sell. I'll tell you that right now. The second skill that served me in a big way was knowing how to market myself. I knew early on when I started my insurance agency that I was going to use social media, I was going to post content, I was going to market myself, I was going to make people laugh, and you were going to think about me in the topic of insurance. Like if you live in Las Vegas, you were going to think of Nicholas Sakha when it comes to auto insurance, home insurance, renter's insurance, life insurance. That was my goal. And at the time in 2016, social media wasn't really being used like that. It wasn't a part of the training, but I knew, hey, I'm going to promote the freaking heck out of myself to make sure that I can drive as much free business as possible. Because social media, referrals that come from customers, social media, it's free business. And so just know that the more free business you can write will free up more capital to deploy back into your business, to hire more staff, to just do things that'll serve your business in the long run. So just know that marketing is a good skill, and it will serve you in starting an insurance agency. The third skill that served me well in my journey was operations. Okay, in banking, there were strict operations. We would get audited where there would be an auditor and they give you a yay or nay at the end of the audit. And so you need to have your operations dialed in. That way you're doing things the right way. You're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. Like, you need to run your agency the same way. If you don't have good operational practices, that is a recipe for disaster in the long run. And so between customer service and operations, they kind of go hand in hand. When you're starting from scratch, you need to just sell. Like, you need to focus on sales because you don't have customers to service just yet. But over time, you're going to build that book up and you're going to have to know how to properly service your customers, and you're going to have to know how to operationally be sound, so that way you're staying in compliance with your company, that you're doing things the right way, and you're not losing a ton of business on the back end because you just have bad processes and bad practices within your agency. So operations is going to be a skill that I highly recommend that you have dialed in, and it's okay if you don't know it all in the beginning. You will figure that out as you start growing your insurance agency. The fourth skill that served me well is understanding people, just leadership as a whole. Before I ever managed people, before I ever led anybody, I listened to a ton of John Maxwell. I learned a lot about leadership books, leadership CDs. I really wanted to know how to understand people, how to lead people, and because you can't do anything great by yourself. You can run an insurance agency with 2 to 3 staff. You'll be so limited. There's only so much you can do with a small team. But with a big team, and you grow that over time, your possibilities are endless. You have so much you can, grow and delegate and free up your time, by understanding people. And so I don't know where this necessarily came from, just all walks of life, college, jobs, sales, interacting with people. Just know how to understand people, know how to lead your team, how to put them first. You put enough people first and you help people get what they want, you and your insurance agency will inevitably get everything that you want. So just know how to understand people, and that will help you when starting an insurance agency. And the last thing is, I know I've said it before, is be open to finding mentors. Be open to not doing this by yourself. There's so many resources. Yes, you may live in a town where there's going to be people that are not willing to help you, or a city, but I promise you there are good people in the insurance industry and they're willing to help. There's so many people that took my phone calls. There's so many people that every time I was in a pickle, I didn't know how to handle a certain situation, they were there to give me some advice and to help me get through certain challenges that I went through. And so I would just tell you guys that be sure, you're doing the right thing by consuming content on YouTube and getting resourceful to find out who can help me on this journey. Try not to do it all on your own. Those people usually fail. The ones that stay to themselves and they have all these problems that they're going through, but they don't, they just don't know that there could be a better way, right? And so I've been a big advocate for networking and going to events and just connecting with people all around the country to learn from them. These people have superpowers, right? There's people that are doing things in one way, shape, or form better than you. And if you can be a sponge and absorb that and be humble enough to know that you can be better, is a big way to grow in this industry. So try to find mentors, be around positive people, because those are the people that will help you when the going gets tough in this industry. And so if you stuck around this far, hopefully that answers your question if you should start an insurance agency with zero experience. In my case, I didn't have none, and we figured it out. And we've done some big things ever since. And so if I can be of any value to you, be sure to reach out to me, connect with me, leave a comment, follow me on my social media platforms. And until next time, thank you guys for watching. Peace.